Good afternoon, and thanks for having us in. An argument between two drivers at a stoplight led to gunshots. Police say 33-year-old Daniel Bien cut off another driver on Saturday afternoon on the northeast side of town. That led to yelling, which led to Bien pulling out a gun and shooting at the other car. The victim called 911 and followed Bien until police showed up. There was a brief chase, but police ended up calling it off. Police were able to track him down and make an arrest. Bien was on active parole and faces a long list of charges. He's expected to appear in court this afternoon. A Mission man accused of beating his daughter to death is scheduled to be in federal court this afternoon. 33-year-old Noah Whitelance plans to plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter and child abuse. 8-year-old Cynthia Whitelance died in the hospital last August. According to court documents filed last week, Noah Whitelance not only beat his daughter, he also ordered one of his other daughters to punish her as well. We have new information regarding the house fire that happened on Saturday night. Crews battled the two-story house fire near Colton. The house received heavy damage. Reports say the 68-year-old homeowner was transported to the hospital with severe burns and remains in critical condition. Turning to weather, it looks like a hot one out there today. And Adam, you were saying we might see some thunder showers that could have our attention before the end of the day.
Yeah, not everybody is going to see something. I do want to put that out there. But yes, we do have that potential later in the day in a couple of areas. It's not even going to be a widespread opportunity for this. But we'll go into more detail on that as we head through the next about 30 or so minutes. But we'll start with a view from our camera in Aberdeen. 79 degrees up in Brown County, a north wind at just 3 miles per hour. It's a great start to the day up there. And also here downtown, there's the Washington Pavilion front and center, 85 at the airport with a south wind at 10 miles per hour. And we are warming up pretty quickly near and south of I-90. We're already at, speaking of the 90s, 91 in Pierre and Phillip, 91 apiece, 88 for Winter, 84 Valentine, Pine Ridge, 84 for Mitchell and Spencer along with Yankton. But there are a few holdouts. And by a few, I mean Aberdeen, Sisseton, and Ortonville, all in the mid to upper 70s. Even Buffalo is towing the line of 90 degrees right now. But notice the dew point. It is kind of humid outside. Mid to upper 60s for dew points East River. So you're definitely going to feel that. This is ahead of a cold front that's going to gradually push its way southward over the course of the afternoon and evening. Nothing on satellite and radar yet. That's the key word, as later this evening, we do have the potential to see some strong to severe thunderstorms pop up. A slight risk in yellow for the Sioux Falls area, points south and east. Marginal risk, that's level 1 in green. From basically Watertown down to Mitchell, Winter, then over to Hot Springs and up towards Spearfish and Belfouche. Wind and hail are going to be the main concerns. Again, we'll go into a little more detail on that in a couple of minutes. But for the rest of your afternoon, we'll keep an eye on those thunderstorms later in the day. Otherwise, we're mainly in the low to mid 90s in southeastern KELOLAND, maybe a few exceptions toward northwestern Iowa, like in Orange City, for example, they'll be at 88 today. To the northeast, we'll also be in the 90s in general, especially toward Miller and Huron, but 80s try to hang tough over toward the Prairie, Coteau, Sisseton 83 today, Watertown 89. You guys will stay more dry than anything else up that way. Toward Rapid City and the Wyoming and Montana borders, we have that chance for a couple of thunderstorms later in the day. Central KELOLAND, though, largely quiet, but also you notice low to mid-90s the farther east you go from the hills. This is as hot as it gets, though, for a little while. We'll talk about that part of your 7-day forecast and more coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. Habitat for Humanity has 10 homes under construction right now in the Sioux Falls area. The homes will go to families ready for the next step in the homeowner process, many of them going through it for the first time.
The program only works if the participants do, and we, they're not our clients. We're partners. We walk alongside the families in their home ownership journey, and we're giving them that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And tonight on KELOLAND, you're going to meet one of the soon-to-be homeowners and volunteers that have been working on the project for the past several months. In search of a lost cemetery, a dig began today at a former Native American residential school. Archaeologists are looking in a central Nebraska field to find the bodies of more than 80 children who were buried. Crews will use shovels, trowels, and smaller tools as they seek to find the remains of children who once attended the Genoa Indian Industrial School west of Omaha. The school opened in 1884 and at its height was home to nearly 600 students. Residents of the tiny community of Genoa have been looking for the cemetery for decades with help from researchers and state officials. President Joe Biden kicked off his 5-day trip to Europe in the UK, meeting with Britain's new king and the Prime Minister ahead of a high-stakes NATO summit in Europe that starts tomorrow. The war in Ukraine is expected to top the agenda. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London.
President Biden began his first full day in London at 10 Downing Street, calling the US-UK relationship rock solid as he talked with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. It's the 6th time the leaders have met, and their shared support for Ukraine likely dominated discussions, along with the president's controversial decision to provide cluster bombs to Ukraine in their war against Russia. The munitions are banned by more than 100 countries, including the UK. But the U.S. says Ukraine needs the canisters filled with small bombs that can be dropped over a wide area. Politics gave way to some pomp later as President Biden met with King Charles for the first time since his crowning. The two had tea and talked about climate issues, including how to encourage companies to boost clean energy efforts, with input from John Kerry, the U.S. Special Envoy for Climate Change. Then it was back in the air for the president with a flight to Lithuania's capital city for the annual NATO summit. Ukraine is pressing to become a member of the military alliance, but President Biden says the war must end before Ukraine is admitted, or all members could be dragged into conflict with Russia. Still, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he wants a guarantee, not just that the door is open, he says, but that Ukraine will be let through it. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
NATO now has 31 nations as members after Finland joined the alliance back in April. Sweden hopes to be next, but political backlash from Turkey is delaying their bid for now.